All right. Let's do this. Let's go one more time. Welcome back to Two Plant-Based Brothers. I am William the teacher. This is my brother.
Daniel Nwanek, Beard on the Trail.
That's right, Daniel. So, it is coming up, kind of my opinion. I don't know, you could share your feelings on it. A little bit of it's a bittersweet day coming up.
Yeah, I think
So,
bittersweet is
um,
a good way to phrase it.
yeah. So we're coming up on Father's Day.
Yeah.
So happy Father's Day to you, Daniel.
And happy Father's Day to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But yeah, this day gets tough, and holidays tough. Especially like the holidays are tough because when I go to buy cards, there's always that Merry Christmas, Dad kind of thing, or even Mom and Dad, the cards I used to
Mhm.
buy that I don't buy anymore, and just I don't go looking at the cards for Father's Day.
Mhm.
So I can avoid that kind of trauma, I guess you will.
Sure.
But yeah, it's difficult, and Dad's not with us anymore, so we're gonna kind of dedicate this one to him and talk about it. So um, let's get into it, Daniel, and let's just go with do you know why I'm wearing this hat?
Yeah, no, I know exactly why. Maybe the audience is on the edge of their seats because they're
Yeah,
used to you wearing, excuse me, a Padre hat, a Tin Caps hat, or
yeah,
a Canada hat.
yeah.
The
Or
A's? Okay, the Aztecs.
Aztecs.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
There was another one in there. But
yeah,
the A's, William, why on
yeah.
earth would you be wearing an A's cap?
So Dad used to manage a team in his, I think it was called the Senior League, which sounds really horrible,
Yeah,
like for old people,
it
but
was seniors, all right.
it was seniors for 14 and 15-year-olds, right?
Yeah,
And we
which
were,
then became 15 to 16 by the time I got there, by the way.
oh my goodness, really?
Yeah, true
Well,
story.
anyway, he managed um, Little League for a long time, and then there was a moment in his life where he had to go work other places, and there would be times where we didn't see him for a week. He would only come back on the weekends, and he couldn't do it. But then he picked up again um, when I was 14,
Hmm.
and Roy Hampton was going to be the manager, and he got my dad to be coach. And then that lasted 1 year, and then they switched, and then Dad took over the manager, and Roy was the coach. And then Chris Hampton stopped playing, I stopped playing,
Yep.
but he kept going. He said he was going to do it until you were
Yeah,
old
and
enough.
basically until I got up there, which
Yeah,
I think in Little League years, we were probably about 8 or 9 seasons apart.
I think 9 years apart because we're
Yeah.
9 years in age, right?
Yeah.
But we're 10 years in school because I
Okay.
went to school when I was 4 because I was a
Okay.
genius. You weren't quite at the same genius level.
Wow.
Yeah. And so you had to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
wanted to take my
but
time.
but yeah, I think it was 9 years in baseball. And then so he waited for you. And then did he retire when you were finished?
Yeah, so the fun part about it, as I mentioned, it moved from 15 to 16. So when I first got up to seniors, and by the way, actually, I think it was after my majors. So it goes majors, juniors, seniors in Little
Yeah.
League then. And after my majors year, I think I talked to mom and I said, I kind of want to stop playing baseball. Remember
Mm,
telling her, and then I think she was pretty much devastated of like, wait, what? You want to stop playing baseball? Your dad's
yeah.
been waiting for you
Yeah.
to get up to seniors. And then I thought about it more, and then ended up doing it. And back then, juniors was just age 13,
Yeah.
and
Same
so
for me.
and then I moved up to seniors at 14, and that's when they extended it to 15 and 16 once I got up there. So I actually played 3 years of seniors,
I
and
never knew that.
I played 3 years with dad. So he was my coach, my manager for 3 seasons. 14 to 16.
And did he ever let you pitch?
Yes. Yeah. My last season, he let me pitch. I did pitch once in juniors, which was, I'm pretty sure I gave up 0 runs in that inning.
Well,
Definitely had some men left on base from the other team, but I got out of the jam. But I did pitch seniors. It was my last, I think it was our last game. We were not in the running for win the
yeah.
championship that
Same
year.
here.
So he allowed me to start the game. And I remember throwing the ball. bouncing it up in the umpire calling it a strike. So that was kind
Well,
of fun.
congratulations. So quick dad stories. He let me pitch once last year against, and it was against Mentone. Mentone had a team that
Uh-huh.
was playing. They hadn't won a game all year, but of course they beat us. And I started, and he let me pitch once when I was like 9 or something, and I
Hmm.
walked 4 batters, and he pulled me. And
Yeah.
so he told me, he said, if you walk one person, I'm pulling you. So I
Yeah.
didn't walk anybody, Daniel.
Nice. Who'd you hit? Did you hit people?
No, I don't think I don't think we got an out
Oh,
when I
okay.
was pitching. I think I gave up like 7 or 8 straight hits, and he came out to get me.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not the easiest person to give, I don't know, criticism to or
What?
something. And I said, what are you doing? I haven't walked anybody. He's all they're hitting the crap out of you.
That's awesome. I
He
love
may have
it.
said the S word. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Oh,
But
that's so cool.
that was something else. But yeah, a lot of his adult life, he helped really teach young boys and turning those
Yeah.
young boys into young men in
Yep.
the way of teaching them different skills beyond just baseball. It was about how
Mhm.
to play the game and to play the game the right way.
Right.
And it really didn't matter. Winning and losing did matter. It
Hmm.
did. But
Sure.
he wasn't going to be one of these jerks who did dirty things, or not give a kid an opportunity to
Right.
play or tell a kid, we're going to tell the other team that you're hurt, so you
Right.
don't take any at bats. No, every kid got to play. Every kid got an experience. Every
Mhm.
kid learned how to win the right way and to lose with integrity.
Absolutely.
And on some of those teams I was on, we were really bad and
Mhm.
we lost a lot. And he loved to tell us a story about his, I don't know, JV team that he was on that went 0-22 at St. Monica's.
Uh-huh.
Don't know if it's true. Mom can correct that story or not. He may have lied. Who knows? But when he said we went out and we played and we worked hard and we did everything we possibly could to win every day. But it's
Mhm.
not the end of the world. And really, things that I didn't like about dad being my coach was I was going to sit the bench whether I was hot or not. You know,
Yeah.
I was going to sit the bench, and that's the way. I wasn't going to be given anything, and more importantly, I was there to learn different things. And
Mhm.
he was just really good, and you appreciate a lot of stuff about your parents when you get a little bit older and you can look
Mhm.
back and see the reasons why they did things, and it was about teaching, and he was a very good teacher.
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely. And I think I learned a ton from him, obviously growing up, but if we're still using the lens of Little League and baseball, you hit the nail on the head of it was much more about, great sportsmanship, how to be a great teammate. I like to say I was probably the best bench warmer and cheerleader on most of my teams. I was not that good. I made all-stars once, and I think it was a
more than
pity,
I did.
and it was a pity vote.
Yeah, I think I got robbed in 1989 or 90. I don't know, but
So, and like I think back now, especially right as we're celebrating Father's Day ourselves being dads, it's a lot of how I coach my kids in sports is how dad coached me, right? You just so happen to use and not so happens, it's just ingrained in me because of my upbringing from him. Some of the same tactics with both my son and my daughter, and she's thinking about getting into softball, though she's mostly in soccer, and then my son Lennon's in really into baseball, and it's 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 one of those, like you said, bittersweet, and I think the sweet aspect for me is reliving sports with my kids like dad lived them with us in the house.
yeah,
Watching baseball with my kids is probably the most fun I'll ever have at any day, that I have is just being able to watch it with them and teach them the game and their age right now through his lens is it's pretty spectacular, right? And so like that's the warmth I get is like even though dad's not with us and hasn't been with us for a couple of years now, I feel like he lives through us each and every day and how we parent. And I know your girls are a bit older, but I'm sure a big part of how you parent is how dad treated you and worked with you growing up.
yeah. And I think so. You'd have to ask my children, but they've often said nice things about me. So, um, I think they're at that age in their 20s, right, where
Mhm.
I came to realize in my 20s that I had good parents. I think as a teenager, you probably don't see these things, and it takes some time to reflect. And I think, especially when you do become a parent and you realize the things that your
Mhm.
parents did, and and I said this at his funeral, that he was a better dad than I've been. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I know there's some cases where I think back, what would dad have done in that situation? And
Mhm.
he would have done everything. And I didn't always do that.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of tough, but he led by example a lot. And
Yeah.
just to give another story, a life-changing moment in my life was I was with, my older brother and dad. We were in a car, and someone had broken down right in the middle of, you know, intersection. And
Mhm.
he pulls the car over, stops and gets out and helps the person push the car to the side. And I remember doing that exact same thing, years later as a young adult. And I can tell you, just sitting there, it's pouring down rain. It's after an SDSU game, a basketball game, and we're at the intersection of college and whatever, college
Mhm.
and university, let's just say
Mhm.
Elkhorn Boulevard. And it's pouring down rain, and I got Johnny Frazier in the car, and Brian Vitale's driving, and this car in front of us just kind of craps out. We get out, just Johnny and I get out, and we just push the car and
Yeah.
didn't think anything of it. It's just, I think it was just the way we were raised to do those things. It's not like the only time, but it's just one of those things that sticks out. That I feel very blessed in many ways in how he led by example and how he led his life. And I think growing up in a small town that, unfortunately, I feel that a lot of my friends were raised differently to view others,
Mhm.
specifically by race. And I'm not calling out that town to say it's full with a bunch of racists, but I do feel that it was a it was a privilege to grow up with people who never used these words, derogatory terms for other people. And it's a blessing. And that's one of those things people go, well, that's the way it should be. But it wasn't always like that. And especially in
Mhm.
a town that was as wide as we grew up in. I think we got a much different perspective. And I'm very, very happy for that. So,
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think like piggybacking on that of like not only accepting, you know, everybody, because he really was, right, and kind of marry that back into kind of how he approached coaching, right?
yeah.
Everybody on the team was equal, right? Nobody was better than the other, right? And regardless of talent, right? You guys were all treated the same, and Dad did treat everybody equally. And I think that comes across a lot in just kind of how I see the world too, from an equality standpoint and accepting, and just his thirst for wanting to learn. I think was always something I took away, as just like a lifelong learner. He was very much for the fact like he'd like to learn everything. Like freaking like he would get a book or whatever, he'd want to read it all the way through and make sure he got everything from it. But it was always a curiosity for him and a curiosity to learn. He's like, oh, we might not know how to do it. And this was more when I was kind of grew up alone with him, I think a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because you guys were all out of the house and I was in my teenage years and I got to see Dad in a different light. But he was very much willing and wanting to always learn, not necessarily stuck in his ways. And some things he was, but but not all
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And I think that's what always gives me my curiosity. I think I have as a person is from his curiosity of wanting to learn new things and kind of going back to the sports analogy. My son wants to learn how to throw. Once he wants to learn how to pitch. He's
Mm-hmm.
6 years old, wants to learn how to pitch. I have no idea. Clearly, from our mention of our stories, I have no idea how to pitch, but I'm going to learn with him. I'm going to say, okay, let's learn how to do a four-seamer. Let's learn how to do a two-seamer fastball, right? And so we're on YouTube learning. And I know if Dad had YouTube back in the day, it would have been a wholly different world, right? Been a different world for me too with sports. And so like that thirst for learning, I've always appreciated from him and look at it now as a blessing too, as something that I have moving forward to.
Yeah, but I think, speaking of YouTube, I think didn't he get a little bit into YouTube or something, where he
Hey,
when he was going through his cooking phase?
yeah, cooking for sure. Yeah, yeah. And it was more like recipes. But I don't know if it was YouTube. It was more just
Oh,
recipes online. Like he would find recipes
oh,
online
okay.
and he would
If he's
print them
just,
out and he would learn how to do a roast beef or whatever it was or a
yeah,
meatloaf. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, he really did. That's when he did the 180 on his health, right? And
Yeah.
so, both you and I know, like he battled with weight gain and loss like all of his life, and there's a lot of moments where he, went cold turkey on smoking, and then also, went straight at it from walking every day and eating healthy every day, and dropped a ton of weight.
Yeah.
And then that battle was on and off.
Yeah. And then so getting into that point, it was this, you know, it was difficult, to watch him be so frustrated
Hmm.
towards the end, right?
Hmm.
And he would get so upset after he thought about, I lost all this weight, and then I quit smoking, I lost all this weight, and then I had a stroke,
Hmm.
and he'd be so angry about it. And it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I know. And it's just like it's a tough situation because he didn't live a healthy life, and then it's just the way it goes. And he was really quite large at one point. I think I'm going to say when he got pretty big after you were born. I'm not blaming you, Daniel. I'm just saying.
Hey, thanks. I'm not blaming you, but I'm blaming you.
But I think mom would know better. But it's just looking at pictures, and then he kind of just kind of ballooned, really, really
Hmm.
got it to a really large size, and he stayed a large size for a while.
Yeah.
And and then towards in the latter years, like he would be so adamant that he never quit smoking when
Yeah.
he was smoking again.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, you quit for like 5 years or something, whatever. He's, no, I didn't. I never did. Oh, I need my smokes, need my smokes. And then he was back on smoking again, and then finally got rid of that again. I think mom had to take it away, but that was really hard towards the end there,
No.
as his brain wasn't functioning as well, and his memory was not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no,
that was
I think of the frustration that he had with the strokes, right, as you said, and being frustrated that he got healthy and then that happened. I think
yeah.
I would try to explain this to him too, but I always thought the way I looked at it is like, yeah, but you could have had a heart attack 2 years earlier, right?
Mhm.
Well, if you hadn't made those changes, right?
Yeah.
But
But
he
what did he
also
say
did.
when you said that,
I
though?
don't remember. He probably
He would have said
grumbled.
that would have been better.
No,
He
no,
he did. I
he
remember
could have. He could have.
distinctly him saying that.
But and that was me
That
trying
would
to
have been
reason with him, right? But when he made up his mind, he made up his mind on something for sure, right? And that was fact. And so yeah, no, it was extremely hard towards the end, especially because he was a joy of life in so many ways, and then it became just this fixation of frustration, which granted he was going through so much mentally and physically that I can't even imagine putting myself in his shoes and trying to stay positive in any of that, right?
been.
So it was really tough to watch in the latter part. In that the thing I remember, especially of like the woe is me aspect towards the end of it's like I think you and I, everyone in the family felt like even in the short period of time, which was 70 years, right, on this planet, and whatever, 62 of them, 63, whenever he had his stroke, like pre-stroke, were, I think it led a really great life where the way I reflect on it is the people he impacted positively is a great reflection of like living a really great, fulfilling life. And
Mhm.
I think from my lens, he did that. Still way too short, right? I still never want to lose him when we did. But still, he helped a lot of people, as you said, and he was very selfless in so many ways.
Yeah, I mean, and you just gotta give it to the guy on a few. I just these true core memories. One, let's just go
Mhm.
back. I'm
Mhm.
I'm at Dodger Stadium, watching a doubleheader with my older brother and I believe Dave Morial, maybe Dave
Mhm.
Simmering, I think was his name. I don't know. We're coming back and we break down. Your brother's pulsar breaks down again,
Mhm.
somewhere on the 10 freeway near Montclair, right?
Uh,
And so who do we call? What do we do? Dad drives all the way out, right? We find a payphone or something, drives all the way out. I don't know how we all got home because he drove my bug.
yeah.
I know we all didn't fit in there. Maybe the other guys called someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I broke down, I don't know how many times, at least 3 or 4 times on the way back to San Diego, always like between Temecula and
Mhm.
Escondido, that dead zone still
Yeah.
gives me creeps. And he would come down, pick me up, and
Yeah.
it's just like I don't know. He was just like it didn't matter. You could call him anytime. And it's one thing that Dad didn't do. Maybe when he was younger, he drank a little bit. I
Mhm.
think Mom would say that. But our lives, he never was just like,
Mhm.
um, don't call me after 10 because I've had too many.
Yeah. No,
I'm at the bar.
he
No,
was available.
he could have called him at any time and he would come get you. And in other places too, older brother, you know that story. No mention of what that's about. He'd come get you out of certain places too, you know. But he was always there for us, and he was amazing, and getting into the next chapter as a papa,
Hmm.
right? Just my kids have so many memories with papa.
Yeah.
Especially when they go up in the summertime and spend a couple of weeks, maybe
Yeah.
even a month once, and mom would go to work, and he was working from home, and they would just hang out with him, and so many of their um, there's so many stories and all the different things that they have. He was just
Yeah.
say they had him wrapped around their finger, right?
Yeah, they did.
And so that was a really good part of his life. And I think even then, as we talked about, as I hate to use the word deteriorated, but he did.
Hmm.
And he deteriorated in front of our eyes. And it was really hard. But still, that love and joy when the girls would come over,
Hmm.
and Dylan a little bit later, he was so happy to see his grandkids and spend time with them.
Absolutely. No, and she has memories of Papa as well. Dylan does. Lennon kind of says he does, but he was a much younger. But I do know Dad would light up when Lennon was there, especially when he had his little Dodger outfit on. So that would made his day when he was there, and so like he would have really enjoyed, I think, seeing them grow up now. And he was going to Dylan's sports when there towards the end when she was
Yeah.
doing soccer when she was younger, and I know he would have appreciated if he was right of mind, right physically, of course.
Mhm.
So we do miss that opportunity, but we cherish the memories we have.
Yeah. And I think one thing that I don't think people really know is how incredibly amazing it is that either Daniel or myself, either of us are alive. Dad was an absolute miracle baby. I don't know if people know this. Do you
Yeah.
know this, Daniel?
Yes, I did know that. No, he was a miracle baby. Yes, I believe Grandma had several miscarriages. I don't even remember the count, but it was up
I
there.
think at one time she told me 10, but according
I thought,
to
see, I was thinking nine. Nine was my number.
well, maybe nine miscarriages and then one baby
And then,
born
yeah,
who died,
right. Which would have been Dad's brother, right? Yeah.
yeah. And so um, just the perseverance of that woman,
Mhm.
to never give up and to keep going and to keep carrying these failed pregnancies, I guess you could call them, and then him being born, it really
Mhm.
was, and it's a
Yeah.
miracle, you
Right.
know, it's a miracle. And I'm gonna say he grew up a little spoiled, but
Just a little bit. Yeah. Just a little bit.
and you got to say this about the man. He was well taken care of all his life. And
Yeah.
his mom took really good care of him and passed him over to our mom, who always took really good care of him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
That was probably
you
the
know,
expectation. I don't know if Grandma ever had that talk with you, Mom, but I felt like that was the expectation.
oh, yeah, I'm sure mom could tell some stories about, about that. But, just to kind of, we're just wrapping up, but tell me one of your favorite dad stories.
It's hard to tell favorite, but I got a lot of them. It's just for me, it's just spending time with him watching baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, like watching sports. Like and it would be the Saturday USC games where we'd go to the store, get some pork rinds, get some chips. Like we would get just some junk food, and we were just watching the USC game together, or Sunday afternoon, listen to Vince Scully together, watching the Dodgers, and going down to a game. Like Dad would drive me down to games. Dodger Stadium, it wasn't all the time. It's not like, he could afford it, even though the tickets back then were really affordable. But he would take me to games and just going down to the baseball field, even as a kid, of like watching him coach, right? Like I was always tagging along, and just to get to see him live. So way too many, but just if I were to sum up just anything around sports, it
Yeah.
just it's always a fond memory of me and things that I cherish to stay with my kids.
Yeah. And that's why it's been really difficult transition for me for Father's Day,
Mhm.
because if anyone asked me what I wanted to do for Father's Day, it was very simple. I want to go hang out with my dad,
Yeah, right.
right? And so it wasn't about me. So for like 20 years, my kids, you know, they know that
They went with you to,
they know
yeah,
Father's Day is about Papa. It's not about you, Dad.
yeah,
So I think they've had kind of trouble knowing that it still can be about me too. But no, it was always that. I mean, the hanging out, watching sports is a big one. But I really had great times, and some very cherished memories are just being alone with Dad by Bass Lake. And we talked about Bass Lake a little bit before. And he had to go down early, right? He had to
yeah,
go down
yeah.
early to make sure camp out, get the spot for everybody.
Mhm.
And then he had to, I don't know, he's doing cleaning out rocks or something so
He
that the
would clean
girls,
out the path for people that
yeah,
would walk into the water.
so the girls wouldn't step on rocks or something. But
Yeah.
we would just sit there, man, and shoot the breeze and have a good time. And a lot of those years with Uncle Kevin would be there, and we created a whole group called the Out of Tuners, and we would just sing along and just sometimes just sit there and
Yeah,
just do nothing.
yeah.
But it was always those times where you would get some, little pearls of wisdom here and there, just
Mhm.
shooting the breeze and having a conversation, and he'd drop something on you and you go, wow, I never thought about that. Or wow, I never knew you did
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
get into different stories, but he had a great life. I mean, honestly, had he taken a little bit better care of himself,
Mhm.
maybe sooner rather than later, could have lasted longer. But the impact is there and it resonates, and it will as long as we keep talking about him. So
That's right.
yeah,
Absolutely. The legend lives on.
yeah. Anyway, um, tell me one quick thing, right?
Hmm.
There was a World Series. I think it was when the Dodgers made it back to the World Series for the first time since 1988, probably.
In 2017 against the
And
Houston Astros.
you and Latanya took him to the
Mhm.
game.
Yeah.
Was this the record hottest World Series game
I don't think
ever?
it was the hottest, but I know it was a record shortest World Series game
Oh,
at the
really?
time. Yeah, Clayton Kershaw started. It was game one,
Yeah,
2017 against the Astros, and it was like 2 hours and 13 minutes or something crazy. Like it was so
yeah,
fast. And I was thinking to myself, man, it could have been longer. Like we paid a lot of money for these
yeah,
tickets. But yeah, no, we surprised Dad for that. So you and Michael chipped in, and we surprised him with World Series tickets. And we told him, Latanya and I went up, we picked him up. We said, "Oh, we're gonna go to a fan fest and watch the game together."
yeah,
And then we pull into Dodger Stadium parking lot. We're like, "Oh yeah, the fan fest is here. Like it's on the grounds." And then we get out of the car. We said, "Actually, Dad, you're going inside." And we recorded it. I know we sent it to you guys, and he was just crying. He couldn't believe it, that we were going inside, and so that was actually probably the best memory. So I think thank you for bringing that up.
yeah. Sometimes you
Yeah,
gotta poke it, but
yeah,
yeah, no, that always I think about that, and something unfortunately that I'll never be able to do,
hmm,
right, is go to a World Series game where my team plays, because they'll never make the World Series.
well,
So, but
you're
at
trying
that,
the reverse jinx right now.
yeah, this team's really bad.
Mhm. And so with that, Dad was undefeated in World Series games that he went to, because they won that game, won, and they ended up losing the series because of the cheating Astros, but that's a different story.
Yeah, yeah, neither here nor there. All right. Well, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. If you're watching this and you knew our dad, please leave us a comment of your
Yeah,
favorite memory. I would love to read a
same.
hundred messages about Michael Dennis Nowotnick Sr.
Senior,
So,
yes.
yeah,
Junior, you can save for another time.
yeah, forget you, Junior. Maybe we'll have him back on the show in some other time. But
All
anyway, thanks, Dad. Love you.
right. Love you, Dad. Peace.